Ramesh Salvo, National Socialist Council of Nagaland IM General Secretary Twingalam Muiva accuses India and Myanmar of invading, addressing the General Assembly of Unrepresented Nations and People's Organizations in Washington, D.C. Muiva said that the people should be more opinionated about the NSCN and the People's Naga solution. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv says the total repealment of Armed Forces Special Powers Act might be delayed and partial reduction of AFSPA is a trial to observe as how the state performs under changed circumstances. Rio urges all stakeholders to take the matter seriously and do the needful to maintain law and order in the state. Four-time Chief Minister and former Governor Dr. S.C. Jamir appeals to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take a decision on securing the much-awaited Naga political issue. S.C. Jamir notifies PM Modi about the formal meetings with the various Naga political groups which were held for many long years, during which all relevant issues were deliberated. Naga People's Front along with Nagaland Ayush Doctors Association extends support to Nagaland In-Service Doctors Association's demand on superannuation age for all government medical doctors from 60 to 62 in Nagaland state. NPF President Dr. Shurozile Legislative questions the government, asking why they are unable to resolve the matter on time. In a memorandum to Governor Jagdish Mukhi, Naga Mothers Association insists the centre to move to Parliament for repeal of Armed Forces Special Powers Act, as Nagaland Assembly had already passed a resolution in this regard. Association's President Abiu Meru strongly objects reducing AFSPA in certain areas, while AFSPA still remains to be prevalent in some areas. Hello viewers, I'm Rinki Gugoi and you're watching Nagaland TV Primetime News. Let's see more of the news in details. NSCN IM Chief Tuangalim Muiva has claimed that Nagalim, the land of the Naga tribals, have been invaded by India and Myanmar, and the Nagas have neither been a part of either by consent or by conquest. Muiva, while addressing the General Assembly of Unrepresented Nations and People's Organization in Washington, D.C., said that in spite of all the facts, commitments and agreements, Indian government has started misinterpreting the mutually accepted ceasefire agreement between the government and the NSCN signed in August 1997 and going back on its word. Muiva claimed that the Nagas had been living in their own free country before and after the British occupation and never accepted the invitation of the Naga Indian Constituent Assembly to join the Union of India. Muiva further alleged that with a view to legalizing its military occupation of Nagalim, the Indian government imposed its will upon the Nagas in the form of the so-called 16-point agreement in 1960, which was also rejected by the Naga people. Muiva has, however, disappointed that the former government interlocutor and then Nagaland Governor R.N. Ravi had on a number of occasions rejected the separate Naga flag and constitution. Moreover, Muiva requested the UNPO to look into the fragile situation of the Indo-Naga political talks and take a positive role so that the current peace process is brought to a logical conclusion. Nagaland Chief Minister Nltv on Monday stated that the total repeal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act may be delayed and that the partial reduction of AFSPA in the state was a trial by the government of India to observe as to how the state reforms without the act. In the consultative meeting held on AFSPA in Chumukedima, CM Rio urged all the stakeholders to take the matter seriously and do the needful to maintain law and order in the state. and also asked for their cooperation to avoid unforeseen incidents in the state during the period of trial. He further acknowledged the Center for answering the plea of all stakeholders for the abolishment of the AFSPA and further stated that the Naga solution is for all the Nagas and hence the Nagas should harbor a sense of duty, oneness and avoid personal selfishness and demands. The four-time Chief Minister and former Governor Dr. S.C. Jamir appealed to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take a decision on securing the much-awaited Naga political issue. As per sources, Dr. S.C. Jamir notified PM Modi about the formal meetings with the various Naga political groups which were held for many long years, during which all relevant issues were deliberated. Jamir also appreciated PM Modi for his brave decision and in delivering the promise made by the Nagas for securing early resolution to the decades-old Naga political issue by signing the agreement with the NPGs. Dr. S.C. Jamir also questioned as to why there is a delay in the Naga political solution when the talks and the negotiations has been concluded since October 31, 2019. In a memorandum to the Governor, Jagdish Mukhi, Naga Mothers Association has insisted that the centers should move to the Parliament for repeal of Armed Forces Special Powers Act, as Nagaland Assembly had already passed a resolution in this regard. Association's President Abiu Meru and Secretary Lochumbeni Homsoy strongly objected to reducing AFSPA in certain areas, while AFSPA still remains to be prevalent in some of the areas. NMA stated that the continuation of AFSPA portrays the peaceful areas as disturbed area, which also proves as an insult to the many years of peace maintained by the NMA. The Naga People's Front, along with the Nagaland Ayush Doctors Association, have extended support to the Nagaland In-Service Doctors Association demands on superannuation age for all government medical doctors from 60 to 62 in Nagaland. On the other hand, NPF President Dr. Shurozile Lejitsu questioned the government, asking why they are unable to resolve the matter in time if they really are actively considering the issue. As NIDA has already stated that Nagaland has a shortage of medical doctors. He further stated that government applies the same benchmark to health services in matters of banning creation of posts or extension of service. NPF President appealed to the government of Nagaland to take up the matter urgently so patients may not suffer the consequences. NADA General Secretary Dr. Sachin Lomaki and Vice President Dr. Alvis Shike said that Prime Minister Modi also announced that the age of superannuation in respect of doctors belonging to all the categories, that is allopathy, dental and Ayush, shall be 62 years. Meanwhile, Dimapur, Pek and Woka units of the NIDA also voiced support to enhance the superannuation age to 62. A coordination meeting to conduct a mock drill was held on Tuesday at the Deputy Commissioner's office in Chumukidima. Notably, Deputy Commissioner and Chairman of DDMA Chumukidima Abhinav Shivam, who chaired the meeting, highlighted the purpose and importance of the mock drill, which is scheduled to be held on April 8, 2022. BNK. The Dimapur Municipal Council has issued a new price chart for the sale of fruits and vegetables in Dimapur on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Nltv team interviewed the fruits and vegetable vendors of Dimapur if the prices have surged or slumped. The vendors stated that the charted price of potato is Rs 25. However, they sell it at Rs 23 to 24 per kilo, while the wholesale rate of tomato is Rs 25 per kilogram, but the retail rate is Rs 30. On the other hand, the cost of onions per kilogram is Rs 30. When asked about how the rates of these vegetables and fruits are finalized, the vendor stated that they sell the items according to the prices specified in the chart issued by the DMC.
25. All 25.
30 rupees.
Okay, and then the garlic?
Garlic roll, 80 rupees.
And then how about the ginger?
Ginger, 40 rupees.
40 rupees.
Hmm.
25 kg te. 25 kg te. Tomato to 30 bikai ase, 2 kg 50 bhi bikai ase. DMC rate ti ami khan bhi bikai hisab para. हाँ, ताई रिटेल होलसेल अलग और रिटेल अलग दे तो रिटेल हिसाब पर ही अमी कन बिकाए एकदम ठीक दाम ही बिकाए
रिटेल में बिकाए 23 बिकाए 24 बिकाए ओनियन 30 पर बिकाए टमाटर 20-25 कॉलीफ्लावर 30 पर बिकाए केजी थे
আপনি তো কেপিসটা কিমান বলিস না
30.
কেপিস 30 না
হয় আর কি টমেটো তো 20.
আৰু ইটো মাছ
Chief Minister Nltv on Monday took down to Twitter to express his gratitude to the Pom brothers and sisters for inviting him to celebrate the Pom Mongniu and Longlang, this festival at Longlang. He further informed that the festivals are a time to reflect on the bygone days and count the blessings and look forward to a better tomorrow. He further wrote, "May God bless us with a bountiful harvest and help us grow in brotherhood." The Lions Club Dimapur, in collaboration with the Jorhat Lions Eye Hospital, organized a free camp on April 3 and 4 at Lions Health Center in Dimapur. The Lions Club, in a press release, stated that a total of 980 patients were given a free check-up and also provided with medicines, and 140 patients were referred for IOL surgery. The patients referred for surgery will be sent to Jorhat Lions Hospital in batches. Accommodations and transportations and medical expenditures will be taken care of by the Lions Club Dimapur. MLA Jaleo Rio on Monday took down to Twitter and congratulated Nagaland police team for the runners-up award from the 68 Lokpriya Gopinath Bordoloy Trophy football tournament. He further congratulated Nltv Chali of Chipama village for bagging the best goalkeeper of the tournament. Notably, the tournament was held in Guwahati on April 3. The state-level Special Revenue Team of Power Department held a meeting for the financial year 2021 to 2022 at the office of SLDC Nagarjan Kuda in Dimapur. Furthermore, Joint Secretary Power Sarah S. Jamir, while chairing the meeting, congratulated Team Dimapur and Chumukidima for achieving Rs 102 crores jointly. She commended the Dimapur and Chumukidima divisions for collecting more than 50% against the rest of the state revenue collections during the financial year 2021 to 2022. She also encouraged the two divisions to keep up with the momentum and work towards achieving 100% of the revenue target in the coming years. Keeping in mind the satisfaction of consumers, and meanwhile, both the executive engineers of Chumukidima and Dimapur thanked the Special Revenue Team for their continuous support and monitoring They also further pointed out that the team's active involvement with revenue activities has hugely contributed to the improvement of revenue and improved power supply in the two divisions. The block-level Pohchan Panchayat of ICDS Jaluki project under the Department of Social Welfare Peren has held a program on Saturday at the Women Welfare Conference held in Jaluke town. During the meeting, ADC Jaluki Dr. Tino Jongshi Chang spoke on the role of Panchayat and encouraged the local leaders to disseminate awareness on health and nutrition at the block level. Meanwhile, BDO Tening Kiangao explained the importance of rainwater harvesting as a sustainable process that helps in preserving water. Stating that the scarcity of water has become a significant cause of concern, he encouraged the local leaders to conserve water. MLA Ishak Konyak on Sunday launched the new portable ultrasound machine at CHC Aboy in Mon district. Notably, the machine has been sponsored by Selco Foundation under CSR funding through the initiative of the Administrative Department led by Deputy Commissioner of Mon, Tavasalin K. Meanwhile, the medical staff conveyed their appreciation to Selco Foundation and the administration for the continuous support in strengthening the healthcare delivery system. Meghalaya Deputy Chief Minister Preston Tinsong has urged the stakeholders to accept the provisions of the border pact signed with Assam on March 29. The Deputy Chief Minister stated that if the stakeholders do not accept the border pact signed with Assam, another 50 years would be needed to resolve the border disputes between the two states. This statement comes from the Meghalaya Deputy Chief Minister in the wake of several protests in the state against the border agreement signed by the state government with its Assam counterpart on March 29. Notably, many stakeholders in Meghalaya have been threatening to move to the Supreme Court if the border pact with Assam is not being reviewed. The Lok Sabha has passed the Criminal Procedure Bill on April 4 that will allow police to collect biometrics of the convicts. The Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022 proposes to enable the police to collect biometric measurements of the arrested and convicted prisoners. Notably, the biometric measurements involve storing and analyzing physical and biological samples, iris and retina scans, signatures and handwriting of prisoners. Furthermore, the law would also be applied to persons detained under preventive detention laws. It may be mentioned that opposition leaders raised concerns about protection of the data that will be collected and pointed out that the law had very few safeguards. The Congress President Sonia Gandhi has stressed on unity at all levels and resilience as she spoke at a weekly meeting of party MPs about the party's shocking and painful election defeats on Tuesday. This move appeared to be Gandhi's message to the G23, who have been calling for drastic steps to revive the Congress. Sonia Gandhi also said that she had received many suggestions on how to strengthen the party and she was working on many of them. She further stated that she is very well aware about the disappointments and added that their dedication and determination is under severe test. Sonia further assured that she is determined to do whatever needed to ensure the party's revival, which she claims is essential for democracy itself. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting on Tuesday blocked 22 YouTube channels, including 4 Pakistan-based news channels, for spreading disinformation related to India's national security, foreign relations and public order. Furthermore, the ministry has also blocked 3 Twitter accounts, 1 Facebook account and 1 news website. It is to be mentioned that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting since December 2021 have blocked a total of 78 YouTube channels. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday highlighted the importance of maritime sector on the occasion of National Maritime Day 2022. Recalling the glorious maritime history, Prime Minister Modi said that in the last 8 years, our maritime sector has scaled new heights and contributed to boosting trade and commercial activities. Modi further tweeted saying that in the last 8 years, the government of India focused on port-led development, which included expanding port capacities and making the existing systems even more efficient. He also said that waterways are being harnessed to ensure Indian products to get access to new markets. Notably, India is celebrating the 59th National Maritime Day, which falls on April 5 every year. The first anniversary of the day was held in 1964 in order to raise awareness about international trade and the economy. The day is commemorated to support the global economy and express gratitude towards the Indian Navy. Special PMLA court on Monday extended the judicial custody of Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik till April 18 in connection with Dawud Ibrahim money laundering case. Notably, Malik was produced in court after his custody ended on Monday, following which the court extended his custody. Meanwhile, Nilesh Bhosle, advocate of Nawab Malik, while addressing media, informed that the minister has challenged his arrest, calling it illegal. It may be mentioned that Malik, the chief of NCP's Mumbai unit and also the guardian minister for Prabhani and Gondia districts, was arrested on February 23 in connection with a money laundering case related to underworld don Dawud Ibrahim. Delhi University students held a protest on Monday demanding that exams for final year students should be conducted in online mode. It is to be mentioned that after almost 2 years, the university had announced that exams would be held in a physical mode for 6th semester students. On the other hand, the students demanded that the exams should be held in an online open book mode. For that reason, nearly 1,000 protesters from various student bodies took part in a protest that was held outside the arts faculty inside the campus. Moreover, students claimed that they were detained by the police for protesting inside the campus and further stated that they are ready to go on a hunger strike if their demands are not met. Meanwhile, on the other hand, police say that protesters were creating chaos all over the place outside the arts faculty, causing inconvenience and obstructing the traffic. Eventually, local police said that some of the protesters were taken to the police station and will released soon. Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's ruling party, Sri Lanka Podujana Permuna, on Tuesday lost its majority in parliament after 42 MPs announced that they would sit independently. According to reports, among the 42 MPs, 14 are from Sri Lanka Freedom Party, 10 belong to constituent parties of the government and 12 are SLPP MPs, among others. Notably, Tuesday's development comes amid an ongoing turmoil in the island nation due to the country's worst ever economic crisis, triggering widespread anti-government protests. Earlier, the ruling SLPP-led alliance won 146 seats in the 225-member parliament in the 2020 general election. Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Tuesday informed senior party members that he will not step down as Sri Lankan president but is ready to hand over the government to whichever party proves that it has a majority of 113 seats in the parliament. Rajapaksa held political meetings on Monday even as public protests continued against shortages of essential goods and electricity power cuts. Parliament is scheduled to convene for the first time today since the public protest, and with Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewarendena presiding to conduct a vote to determine which party holds the absolute majority of 113 seats in the 225-member assembly. Ukraine mayor and her family members were found dead with their hands tied behind their back in a village west of Kyiv on Tuesday. The Ukrainian authorities found the bodies of the 4 civilians, including that of the mayor, half buried in a grave in a pine forest bordering her house in Bucha, a town located about 30 kilometers north of Motizhin. A fifth body was found in a little well in the garden. According to reports, the mayor Olga Shukhenko, aged 50, her husband and their son were abducted by Russian troops on March 24. Residents say that the mayor and her husband were first abducted by the Russian troops on March 11 after they refused to collaborate with the invading Russian forces, but were released days after. The President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, will address the United Nations Security Council on Tuesday, where he will highlight the alleged killings of innocent civilians by the Russian forces at the town of Bucha near capital Kyiv. The Ukrainian president is expected to press for new and tougher sanctions on Russia over the killings in the Ukrainian town of Bucha, which he says termed as a genocide. It may be mentioned that allegations of Russian war crimes in war-ravaged Ukraine found credence following recovery of hundreds of bodies of civilians lying abandoned in streets near Ukrainian capital Kyiv following the retreat of the Russian forces from these areas. Moreover, the UK, which currently holds the United Council's presidency, said it wants to discuss the mounting evidence of war crimes on Tuesday and will push to ensure justice is done. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen on Tuesday said that it is ready to send a team of investigators to Ukraine to document war crimes and gather evidence. Notably, the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will head to Ukrainian capital Kyiv this week with Vice President Joseph Borrell Fontelles. The announcement was made on Twitter by Leyen's chief spokesperson Eric Mamer. The EU leaders' visit will come at a time Russia has been accused of committing war crimes in the town of Bucha, where at least 20 bodies in civilian clothes were found. Meanwhile, Moscow has categorically denied these allegations, calling propaganda drummed up by the Ukrainian special forces to skew public opinion against Moscow's action. It may be mentioned that Leyen and Fontelles' visit will be the first by Western officials since the leaders of Poland, Slovenia and Czech Republic traveled to the war-torn city last month. Chinese authorities on Tuesday extended a lockdown in Shanghai to cover all of the financial center's 26 million people despite growing anger over quarantine rules in the city, where latest results only showed 268 symptomatic daily COVID-19 cases. In a major test of China's zero-tolerance strategy to eliminate the novel coronavirus, the government widened the lockdown to eastern parts of the city and extended until further notice restrictions in western districts, which had been due to expire on Tuesday. Notably, the border lockdown came after testing saw asymptomatic COVID-19 cases surge to more than 13,000. Symptomatic cases, however, fell on Monday to 268 from 425 the previous day. Thank you, viewers. That's all from Nltv Primetime News. I'm Rinki Gogoi signing off. For more updates, keep watching Nagaland TV. Salmanulagawas.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For